Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Language of Leadership. I'm your host, Chuck Marting. We just did an episode this last week talking about going and speaking to the leadership in Washington, D.C. on some of the measures that are being passed that are affecting employers directly when it comes to drug and alcohol policies and being able to do drug and alcohol testing within a workplace. And that whole purpose was to be able to empower leaders and empower employers to be able to have the choice to decide what's best for their business. And I got to speak to a lot of different leaders at that point and some other leaders since then. And there has been a overwhelming theme that's come through that's inspired this episode of The Language of Leadership. So in this episode of The Language of Leadership, what we're going to talk about is the art of guiding struggling teams towards success. Through the wisdom of some of the most influential leaders and figures of our time, each one of these individuals brings a unique perspective on overcoming adversity and leading teams to triumph. From Silicon Valley to Wall Street, leaders everywhere face the challenge of rallying their teams through tough times. But fear not. Today, we're unpacking 7 powerful strategies that real world leaders have used to overcome adversity and emerge stronger than ever. I had to look back at where I am finding my leadership journey taking me from books that I've read to podcasts that I'm listening to. And so I found some of those leaders that are the ones that are inspiring me the most. And we're going to talk about their perspectives and some of the things that they do to help lead their teams. You know, when you're looking at leadership, leadership is not a one size fits all. It's a mosaic of approaches, each with its own essence and effectiveness. So we go from Tony Robbins to motivational clarity to Simon Sinek's purpose driven vision. So let's explore these diverse strategies to find what resonates with you and your team. So, first, let's start with Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins champions assessing the root causes of team struggles and empowering individuals through clear goals and positive mindsets. He emphasizes the power of belief in overcoming obstacles. And the main takeaway that I get when studying Tony Robbins is engaging in an objective assessment with your team to identify challenges and set smart goals that align with your vision. That's what I get with Tony Robbins. Now, let's move on to another leader, one that I'm reading his book right now, the book on mental toughness, and that is the one and only Andy Fasella. Andy Fasella's overall theme, one of the main things that I hear through his podcast, I'm reading in his books, is accountability and high standards. Comes through clear as a bell. So Andy Fasella, he speaks to leading by example and challenging your team with high standards. He embraces discomfort and he pushes through adversity, fostering a culture of discipline and resilience with his teams. My takeaway with Andy is to implement a culture where accountability is celebrated and everyone is encouraged to own their part in that team's journey. This brings me to my next leader that I respect highly and one who I've read several of his books that he has out, and that's the one and only John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell's leadership and growth is something that is so resilient in in the way he teaches it, what he recommends. And so John C. Maxwell emphasizes the importance of identifying leadership gaps and then fostering a culture of growth and development. You see, empowerment comes through delegation and creating opportunities for team members to shine. So, the overall takeaway that I get with John is to focus on strengthening the leadership skills within your team, by assigning leadership roles in projects and encouraging mentorship and emphasizing continuous learning within your team. That is one of the strongest points that I get with John C. Maxwell. I am so grateful for the books and the leadership that he shares on a weekly and sometimes even on a daily basis through his teams. The next individual that I wanted to talk about is a guest that we've had here on the Language of Leadership. He was one of our early guests, and it's a man that I'm in awe with. You know, I prepared this podcast for you, my audience, every single week. And it's a once a week show. And I can tell you there's times that I struggle on what it is I'm going to bring to you, what's going to impact you, what is going to speak to your soul, what's going to help you. And so I have respect for men like Dre Baldwin. Dre does a daily leadership podcast. He does this day in, day out, and he is so consistent with what he does. I stand in awe trying to figure out how this man comes up with as many topics as he does on a daily basis. But Dre's commitment to excellence is over the top. It's something that you hear that's profoundly in his messages. You see, Dre advocates for a commitment to excellence and he raises standards. And there's a no excuse mentality with Dre. He inspires your team to believe in themselves and their ability to achieve greatness. He is very motivating, and I am so grateful for my introduction to Dre Baldwin and for having him here on the show. But my clear takeaway with Dre is to set clear expectations for excellence and to conduct regular check ins to ensure these standards are being met and that they're being upheld with your team. Next, let's talk about Simon Sinek. And the overwhelming thing I get with Simon Sinek is the golden circle of leadership that he talks about. He teaches us to start with why. His leadership style is about inspiring action through shared purpose and creating a sense of belonging and significance within your team. You know, my overall take with Simon Sinek is to conduct a start with why session to align your team's efforts with the organizational core purpose and then foster a deeper connection through motivation. Visionary leaders, the path to your greatness begins here. Introducing the Alliance Mastermind Group, a sanctuary designed to amplify your leadership potential and turn your dreams into achievements. Inspired by the mastermind philosophy of Napoleon Hill, imagine a dynamic circle of tenacious minds, all committed to helping you reach your goals. In the Alliance Mastermind Group, leadership isn't just a title. It's an active journey towards the realization of your vision. You know, throughout history, mastermind groups have propelled leaders to new heights. Now, we're extending an invitation for you to experience this transformational power. At the Alliance Mastermind Group, leadership isn't just a concept. It's a dedication to each member's success. Our unique approach includes expert training sessions tailored to amplify your leadership skills. Now, this isn't just a group. It's like having your own executive board invested in your progress and your success. Imagine having a team where every member is genuinely interested in seeing your achievements and your goals reached. Or are you ready to take the first step? Apply now using the link in the description of this video and secure your place among the 10 leaders destined to be extraordinary in their success. The Alliance Mastermind Group, where leadership dreams take flight. Your vision, our commitment. Apply now. Now, before we conclude with the leaders that I've selected this week, let's draw on the wisdom of one more exceptional leader, one that's had a major impact in my life and in my leadership, and that's Ed Mylett. Ed Mylett is known for his dynamic approach to life and leadership. Ed brings a unique blend of intensity, integrity, and insight to the art of guiding teams. You know, his focus is on maximizing potential, both in ourselves as leaders and with those who we lead. He champions the belief that true leadership is about elevating others and pushing them towards their limits, not just professionally, but then personally as well. And his approach is rooted in power of self-confidence and the ripple effect it has on teams' collective confidence and performance is out of this world. There's 3 points that Ed makes through his leadership that I need to talk and hit on real quick. The first is maximizing potential. Ed Mylett inspires leaders to identify and cultivate the latent potential within each team member and then challenging them to exceed their own expectations. The other thing that Ed does is consistency and discipline. He emphasizes the importance of consistency in action and in thought and the discipline that is required to maintain it as key drivers of success. The last thing is empathy and connection. In understanding and connecting with team members on a personal level is crucial. And it's something that's really hit on with Ed Mylett. It's the emotional investment that fosters a resilient and a deeply committed team. And my takeaway from Ed is to implement a max out meeting once a month where team members share personal and professional goals. It encourages and challenges each of them to take one actionable step towards their goals before the next meeting. And this practice not only drives performance, but it also builds a supportive and goal-oriented team culture. Now, to incorporate diverse perspectives, let's look at each of the leaders we discussed today, and it's going to bring valuable insight into steering teams through challenges. From Simon Sinek's purpose-driven approach to Andy Fasella's relentless pursuit of excellence, the diversity in leadership styles offers a rich plate from which to paint your canvas and to accomplish your team's path to success. Choosing between these diverse yet complementary perspectives isn't about selecting one over the other, but about weaving them together into a leadership style that is uniquely your own style. So if pressed, though, to choose one to start this integration, the foundational approach of Simon Sinek's Start With Why, combined with Ed Mylett's emphasis on maximizing potential, offers a powerful blueprint for transformational leadership. But if we're to pick one single path to go by, one single leadership style that I would recommend, I would have to go with Simon Sinek. As we've journeyed together through the insights and the wisdom of remarkable leaders that we've talked about, the pivotal question is going to emerge, and that is, if we had to choose just one leader whose principles could transform the way that we guide our teams, who would that be? That was the criteria I looked at. And after very careful consideration, it was very clear that it was Simon Sinek for me. So why Simon Sinek? His approach transcends mere tactics and strategies, venturing into the very heart of what it means to lead. Simon Sinek's philosophy of starting with why not only inspires action, but it cultivates a deeply rooted sense of purpose and belonging within a team. It's the foundational sense of a mission that empowers teams to navigate in adversity and to embrace continuous growth. So the 3 keys to that with Simon Sinek is purpose-driven leadership. And Simon Sinek focuses on why, and it aligns with every team's members' personal motivations with the collective mission, and then fostering that to a powerful, united drive towards common goals. The other is building trust with empathy. He advocates for empathetic leadership and putting the team's needs first, and it cultivates an environment of trust and mutual respect within that team. And it's essential in helping you for overcoming some of the challenges that you're going to face together. The last thing is inspirational communication. You see, Simon teaches us the art of communicating in a way that transcends the transactional, and it inspires true commitment and action towards the vision that is shared. So, I guess my final takeaway is this: to embrace Simon Sinek's principles within your leadership journey. You need to start with a team session dedicated to uncovering your why. You need to explore not just the goals you aim to achieve, but the deeper purpose behind your work together with your team. This clarity of purpose will become your compass in guiding your team through any challenge that lies ahead. By adapting Simon Sinek's approach, you don't just lead to inspire. You create a legacy of leadership that's felt not just in success of your team, but in the strength of your collective character and resilience. So, my final reflection on this is to embark on your leadership journey with the why clearly in your heart and commitment to elevate every team member's potential as you guide them. You have to remember the best leaders are those who inspire their teams to discover their own paths to greatness and then support them every step of the way. So, as we close or conclude this episode, I want to encourage you to reflect on how you can integrate these principles into your leadership practice. Share your stories, your successes, and even your struggles with me. Together, we can lead with purpose and passion and profound understanding that great leadership begins with why. So please remember to contact me at chuck@learningthelanguageofleadership.com. That's chuck@learningthelanguageofleadership.com. Let me know your stories, some of the things that you've learned from this episode, or things that you've implemented with your team that has made all the difference. Please remember to share the show, and also remember our YouTube channel where you can find all of our podcast episodes that are recorded, where you can watch them for your viewing pleasure. Remember, your friends and your leaders need this as well. We need to get this information out to them to help provide them with the tools that they need to become better leaders and to manage their teams that will follow them and give them purpose. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you for tuning into the language of leadership. Remember, keep leading from the front, the side, and the back. And remember, the greatest leaders are those who inspire others to find their own path to greatness. Until next week, take care.